How do you improve as a drummer if you don't have an instructor nearby? So one of the things that you can do is you can reach out to people on social media to schedule a remote lesson. So you could do something over Zoom or Skype or whatever. Another way that you can actually do that is you can actually record yourself and send a tape of you're playing to somebody, and then they can give you like a tape feedback or written feedback. It's actually something that I did with Glenn Crosby for a couple of years, way back in my day, before like Zoom was a thing. Is I would like on a physical tape record myself and then mail that to him, and then he'd send back like a bunch of advice of like things to work on. So like that's something that you can do, but it's so much easier now, and you can just like reach out to people on social media, just DM them and be like, hey, do you teach lessons? Another thing that I actually did is when the band days, like the local band days at the university, they would invite in like a guest instructor, like Paul Rennick or Jeff Queen, are a couple of examples that came to mind. When they were in town for those band days, I would actually reach out to them and be like, hey, can I get like a 2-hour private lesson with you and study with them that way? So you can actually do in-person lesson with somebody who is just visiting your local area. And even though it's not as like consistent as like a Zoom lesson or things like that, it's better than nothing. I learned so much from the couple hours that I spent with Paul Rennick or the couple hours that I spent with Jeff Queen that like really heavily informed my own playing. So you can do that too for in-person lessons. And just as an FYI, I no longer teach privately, so this is not me like promoting my private lessons. I'd rather focus on teaching like a larger population with like free content rather than like only teaching those who can afford lessons. If you cannot afford private lessons, which they can be very expensive, there are tons of free content out there. So for example, I have literally thousands of exercises that can help you and drumming tips. At the link at the top of the screen, it's got 62 chop exercises here. We've got over 1,000 grid variations that you can work on. We've got a bunch of limb independent stuff, over 460 march and bass exercises, bunch of cadences, over 360 technique exercises. So all these exercises can like help your drumming. So for example, if you want to improve your endurance and speed, check out that playlist. If you want to work on your timing, check out that playlist. Like there's a ton of content in here in terms of exercises to work on, but I've also got over a dozen hours of like drumming tips. So in this particular playlist, there's a ton of videos in here that show that have like a bunch of different questions that I've answered in all the different live streams that I've done. So this is stuff that I've paid a lot of money to learn over the decades that I've been drumming, and you can get access to it for free. So go to the tips and lessons section if you want some free content, like how to develop limb independence on a drum kit or how to hold traditional grip. Like these are things that I have learned over the decades, been drumming since 1998. And then even like during school, like getting my bachelor's, master's, PhD, etc. Learned a ton of things in here that I share for free, so you don't have to pay for them.